Jenny Slate has finally made a comment about the Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively lawsuit, and I don't know if this is going to disappoint some of you.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are in full breakdown mode after Justin Baldoni just secured another brutal win in court. And y'all, the reason for all of this is because Jenny Slate's name just got dragged into the mess, and it's making Blake and Ryan look even worse. See, Blake's whole case was already falling apart, but now that people found out about what went down with Jenny, it's looking real shady for Blake and Ryan. And let's just say the receipts ain't helping. From messy legal filings to accusations falling apart, this is turning into a disaster that they can't spin. And this new Jenny detail, it might be the final nail in the coffin. Yeah, Blake's legal team just pulled a wild card trying to claim that Jenny is one of the so-called victims from the It Ends With Us set. So let's break down how Jenny even got roped into this circus.
Hi, I'm Blake Lively.
And I'm Jenny Slate.
And we're both in the movie It Ends With Us.
It Ends With Us.
For those who haven't watched the movie, Jenny Slate plays the sister of Baldoni's Ryle character and sister-in-law of Blake Lively's Lily Bloom. After Lily admits to Alyssa that Ryle has been abusing her, Alyssa supports her in leaving him. Now, you'd think that this is just on-screen drama, right? Wrong, because off-screen, Jenny apparently had made her own complaints about the It Ends With Us set. And this is where things get real messy, because Blake somehow decided to use those complaints to boost her case. But people are straight up in disbelief after hearing the truth about Jenny's story. And even worse, it's mad confusing why Blake even documented this totally unrelated situation like it somehow proves her point. Believe it or not, it's already been confirmed that Justin Baldoni wasn't even involved in the so-called incident, and now word is Jenny might actually testify.
Jenny Slate literally filed a complaint against Jamie Heath for his kindness. Yeah, because they want to weaponize that against him, like Blake weaponizes it against Baldoni.
But before we even get into Jenny's wild claims, y'all need to understand the energy between her and Blake on set, because you see how the two women were moving behind the scenes? It'll make all this courtroom madness make way more sense.
That we were like really getting to know each other in like a really beautiful, fun, real way every day on set.
Yeah, it was a really beautiful experience.
First off, just like Brandon Sklenar, Jenny was one of Blake's co-stars who didn't just stand beside her. She rode hard for Blake when the drama with Baldoni popped off. She went public with a whole statement calling the claims in Blake's lawsuit terribly dark, disturbing, and wholly threatening. She didn't stop there either. Jenny followed up with an even lengthier message, making it crystal clear that she was fully in Blake's corner, saying, "As Blake Lively's castmate and friend, I voice my support as she takes action against those reported to have planned and carried out an attack on her reputation. Blake is a leader, loyal friend, and a trusted source of emotional support for me and so many who know and love her." But here's where it gets wicked, because while Jenny was out here standing 10 toes down for Blake, the internet wasn't just about to let her slide that easy. People started digging into her past, and let's just say it's not giving innocent bystander. Suddenly, old clips started popping up reminding everyone how Jenny once proudly admitted to putting hands on her ex, Chris Evans. But more on that later. For now, let's just break down how Blake dragged Jenny's name straight into her amended lawsuit.
Fans and media can be brutal. They go back through your history. They go back and look and say, what interviews have you given before? How have you treated people?
Now, listen real close, because here's what happens next. According to The Hollywood Reporter, it wasn't just Baldoni who ran into issues when interacting with cast members. THR has learned more about the nature of the complaint that It Ends With Us actress Jenny Slate lodged, which is referenced in court documents, but with Slate's name redacted. It stemmed from an interaction with Heath about the apartment Slate had rented in New York City where It Ends With Us was shooting. So Jenny, who has a toddler, is based in LA, so she had to move to New York for the film. And of course, she had to rent out a place. Slate told him, Heath that is, that she wasn't thrilled with the space she had rented, but that moving wasn't an option because she didn't want to lose the sizable security deposit, around $15,000. Heath informed Slate that Wayfarer would reimburse her for the lost security deposit so she could find better accommodations, but apparently he made the offer using language that made Slate uncomfortable, and sources say he focused intensely on the sanctity of motherhood and Slate's role as a mother. According to sources, Sony became aware of Slate's concerns and an informed wayfarer about them. Guys, let's sit on this for a minute. So Jenny wasn't happy with her apartment, made a whole scene about it, and then when somebody actually stepped up with a $15,000 fix, instead of saying thank you, she said, actually, I feel violated. Let me tell you guys, this has been a hot topic for days. This comment reads, as a woman and mother, this is so sad and crazy that a woman would complain about a man valuing her role as a mother. This other comment reads, these complaints are so offensive to anyone who has ever been in a situation that was actually threatening. And another person adds, Jenny filed a complaint because someone offered to financially help her move so her daughter could be safe. He used the words sanctity of motherhood and she found that uncomfortable? I'm just shaking my head right now.
At the beginning of this Rolling Stone article, they had a quote from some source saying, I've never worked with a male director who was so worried about everyone's emotional and mental well-being.
People have combed through the so-called offensive moment and concluded that it wasn't really HR worthy. In fact, most people are saying they would literally kill for a boss who sees you struggling and actually tries to help you out. But not Jenny. She took a good deed and twisted it into a whole case of disrespect. Make it make sense. And here's where it gets even more layered, because apparently the whole gesture that set Jenny off was tied to Baldoni and Heath's beliefs. Sources say both of them, along with co-founder Steve Sorowitz, are part of the Baha'i faith. Now, this is important because Baha'i teachings emphasize the sanctity of motherhood and deeply value equality and justice. But instead of seeing the kindness behind that, Jenny called it inappropriate. Long story short, the complaint had nothing to do with Justin, but Heath for being generous and showing concern for her child's well-being. This just goes to confirm what Sony had said earlier, that there were no HR complaints filed against Justin Baldoni. Guys, believe it or not, this right here is supposed to be the so-called evidence that Blake tried to flex in her amended lawsuit, claiming she was not alone in complaining and raising complaints about Justin and Heath during filming. But now that the full story is out, people are saying Blake is doing the absolute most, and that if this HR complaint about Heath is what she's referring to as her smoking gun, is a serious stretch.
This person is not an honest broker. I believe her less than ever. I actually disbelieve her fully now.
Meanwhile, Justin is still getting overwhelming support, with more and more people shifting from Blake's camp now that it appears that she's not really calling out legit misconduct, but instead just throwing out accusations and hoping something will stick. And we're still not done with Jenny Slate. Y'all already know how this goes. Once you bring that mean girl energy, the internet will start digging into your past for more dirt. And they dug. Guys, what they found on Jenny is way more disturbing than her HR complaint against Heath. Just when you think it couldn't get any worse for Jenny, an old clip of her and Chris Evans on Anna Faris's podcast has started making rounds, and let's just say people did not let this one slide. Take a listen.
I have never hit anybody as much as I hit Chris. And when I came back,
Who starts it? Who's the one that instigates it?
I don't know what it was, but I've never hit anybody in my life. And then I met Chris. I love it.
Right here, right now. You literally
Dear listeners,
slapped him on the face.
I slapped him so much. I love it.
We have a where's that GIF? I need them to sign release forms.
I hit him so much.
Getting injured.
I came back from making our movie and hit some of my friends because I was so used to just hitting Chris all the time, and a couple of my friends were like, you know what? We really don't like it. And I hit my husband and he was like, nobody likes that. Like, you shouldn't hit people. And I was like, oh my God, you're right. There's only one person.
You know your own strength because you're a strong dude. You're like Lenny from Of Mice and Men.
That's the other thing. No, it's that I realized he was letting me do it.
First of all, it's how she talks about it. Like, she's laughing like it's a joke, but nope, there is nothing funny about what she's actually saying, because what she is describing is DV. And for those of you who don't know, Jenny is a comedian, so maybe to her laughing about beating her ex is just another one of her jokes, but the internet didn't find it funny at all.
Whatever, and you learn about it, and you spark each other's creativity levels, and
Yeah.
So now you're at the place of physical. That's awesome. What a wonderful story.
It's tough.
And now this is the person that Blake Lively is supposedly holding up as her smoking gun. The same woman who filed a whole HR complaint because someone talked to her about motherhood and offered her money to help relocate. This is who Blake's team is betting on to back up her claims? Yeah. not a very wise move. Also, it looks like Blake hangs around people who are just as tone deaf as she is. Oh, and by the way, Jenny Slate and Chris Evans broke up ages ago, and he never, not once, addressed why they broke up or the DV. He was once asked about it, and he said he was steering clear of those questions. And now fans are wondering just how bad things got between them. Also, guys, when I found out that Jenny took the $15,000 even after filing a complaint, I audibly gasped. She took the money, y'all. All right, switching gears here a bit. Baldoni's team, of course, is on top of things. His lawyer, Brian Friedman, is still working around the clock to clear Justin's name, and to be honest, it's getting harder and harder for Blake Lively to dodge the heat.
Well, that amended lawsuit that Blake put out was more like a Lifetime movie screenplay. Who wrote this amended lawsuit? Because you clearly didn't have any new evidence, because you had to go back a decade to pull up Justin's TED Talk to use sound bites from that TED Talk to try to prove your point here. You also mentioned that the smear campaign impacted your hair product line sales. I don't think that was it, love. I just think people don't want to look like they were dragged through a bunch of branches on the way to work. No.
Now, you would think that the drama would end here as we wait to see how these things play out in court, but no, it just keeps spiraling out of control. It goes without saying that Blake's team cannot go down without a fight, even though they've been seriously underperforming. They have now kind of twisted the Jenny Slate situation to make it seem like Baldoni's team is running a smear campaign against Jenny, but that doesn't seem to be the case, though, because Jenny's background is being exposed by third-party content creators, especially TikTokers who've been knee-deep in this mess since day one. Word on the street is that Blake's team approached Jenny to get involved in their lawsuit, but she wanted no part of it, seeing the whole thing crumbling down. And honestly, if that's true, her PR and legal counsel made the right call, because as it stands, she's already getting shredded to pieces, and yet her connection to Blake's side is still just speculation. Many are saying that she's just ended her career for being petty and siding with a bully. And her DV incident towards her ex has made things even worse for her. Remember, guys, Justin Baldoni's attorney called Blake's amendment underwhelming for its sheer lack of evidence. He said her underwhelming amended complaint is filled with unsubstantial hearsay of unnamed persons who are clearly no longer willing to come forward or publicly support her claims. Since documents do not lie and people do, the upcoming depositions of those who initially supported Miss Lively's false claims and those who are witnesses to her own behavior will be enlightening. What is truly uncomfortable here is Miss Lively's lack of actual evidence. Since Friedman has more intel on the matter than the rest of us, he seems to be confirming that Blake's co-stars, who were so quick to support her, no longer want any part of her case after seeing how things are unraveling. Regardless, we're gonna get more details on Jenny Slate's situation because Friedman confirmed they'll also all be deposed, Taylor Swift included.
I can tell you this: there's anyone that reasonably has information that can be that can provide evidence in this case is going to be deposed. I mean,
that's Taylor Swift. She was there for that meeting.
She was there for that meeting.
Okay, well, I'm a lawyer. I know what that means.
Oh, and one more thing. It's becoming real obvious that some news outlets aren't exactly providing accurate information on the case. Either way, they're reporting without getting their facts straight, or they're being corrected way too late. The Hollywood Reporter, which has been 10 toes deep in the Blake versus Baldoni case, has been moving real sus.
Okay, what is going on at the Hollywood Reporter? Because they've updated their Blake and Baldoni Baha'i article yet again.
Take Jenny Slate's situation, for example. At first, the Hollywood Reporter reported that Jenny filed an HR complaint. Then, days later, they edited the article to say there was no such complaint and that Jenny may have just shared her uncomfortable experience with someone on set, assumed to be Blake, who later used it as proof of women being uncomfortable. And then they edited the article again, flipping back to their original claim that Jenny did file a complaint. People notice the inconsistencies and are calling them out for it, demanding that they get their facts straight before publishing because, let's be real, people rely on them for their credibility. They probably thought that no one would notice because they didn't even indicate the edits, but no, the internet always catches on. I told y'all, third-party creators are keeping a close tab on this case, and this doesn't look professional at all.
I even had to go on my desktop version to verify that I was not going crazy and that they updated the article yet again.
People have been narrowing down the women on the It Ends With Us set and trying to figure out which two Blake are referring to, the ones supposedly willing to testify. Now, just imagine Jenny Slate taking the stand saying she felt uncomfortable because she was offered $15,000 to move into a better space. Like, be so for real. So what happens next? There weren't many women on the set to begin with, and it looks like Jenny Slate has already been ruled out. That leaves Isabella Ferrer, who, according to Baldoni's countersuit, actually thanked him for creating a safe work environment. So if Blake had some other woman in mind, we'll just have to wait and see. Also, is it just me, or does the trial date feel way too far? Because now we have to wait until March 2026, but in the meantime, more evidence keeps rolling in, and so far, not a single piece has been in Blake's favor. This story is getting wilder by the minute, y'all. Stay tuned, because I'll definitely be dropping an update. Thanks for watching, loves. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.